I'm here to tell you why that whole trad wife trend is absolute bullcrap. I just got off the phone with a friend of mine who has been married for about 15 years now. Before she got married, she got a master's degree in education and a law degree. She met her husband in law school. He wanted a traditional wife. She did not take the bar, and instead they got married. He took the bar. He passed the bar. He became a lawyer, and she became a full-time housewife and later a mom. Times 5. They have 5 children. Okay, fast forward 15 years, where he has been cheating on her for years. She finally caught him red-handed. She has enough confidence and determination to say, I want a divorce, I'm done. He's walking away with a $300,000+ job that he got, by the way, from one of her mom friends in a mom group. Let's just put that aside. She has nothing. She has 2 advanced degrees, 0 experience. So are they even worthwhile? Are they even worth anything? She has nothing to show for it. And in the last 15 years, what has changed in law and in education? Probably quite a bit. So she is stuck at this crossroads of feeling like she has nothing. And before you say alimony, he is trying to screw her out of everything he possibly can. She cannot keep the house, even though she has primary custody of the children. She can't afford it. She has no job. Absolutely no job right now. And even if she did, there are 5 children. So between drop-offs and pickups at 4 different schools, she has about 3 hours in the daytime when she is not tending to children. So to any woman who is considering that the trad wife lifestyle might be it for you, I encourage you to think about this story. Remember it. And just remember that you as a woman need to have something for yourself. If anything, just for yourself, because you absolutely never know what can happen in life, whether it be divorce, whether it be cheating, whether it be the passing away of your spouse. You have to take care of yourself and put yourself first. You can still love and support your husband and be an incredible wife who takes care of your man, but take care of yourself.
I used to be a trad wife, and now I'm a single mom. It all started back when I was a teen mom. I was 19 years old when I got pregnant. I was not married. When our daughter was like a week old, we just eloped at the courthouse and made it signed, sealed, and delivered. We were married. I was married to a military man, and my job was to be a wife and a mom. I wasn't supposed to have any time or any thoughts about doing anything other than being a wife and a mom. I love my kids very dearly, and I do not regret my decisions to have them. I do regret my decision to pick the partner that I picked to be their dad and to be my ex-husband. I had very low self-worth and self-esteem and thought that I was only good at being a wife and a mom because that's what I was shown growing up. It wasn't until we were teenagers that my mom ever started going to college. When she got married, she didn't have a college degree. She was in the military, and she did her 4 years in the Air Force, and my dad was a career military man, and my mom just married him and became a trad wife. And don't get me wrong, trad wife life comes with perks. I think it's best when you pick the right partner. I've seen a video talking about stitch this and tell me why marriage is hard. Marriage is only hard when you pick the wrong partner. My ex-husband would make fun of my weight. He would make fun of the little gap I have in between my 2 front teeth right here. Basically anything he could find to make fun of, he would make fun of it. But he would try to play it off as if it was just him being sarcastic and that we should make fun of each other. And don't get me wrong, I know there's couples out there like that, and that is the way they show their love, and I am not passing any judgment on how anybody else lives their life. I just know for me, coming from a house where we never did that, it really sent me into, like, I would say emotional distress. I wanted to laugh all of the things off, but deep down inside, I knew all of the jokes were true, and that he was basically just making fun of me our entire marriage. Of course, at the time, I probably didn't realize all of that until I was out of the marriage. I love my kids very, very, very much, and I do not regret my decision to have them. I love them so much. But picking the wrong partner did a number to me even post-divorce. I was tormented for years post-divorce. My ex was so controlling to the fact that he wanted to try to control my sex life after divorce, after many years of divorce. And he was already married and had a kid with his now wife, who was his wife back then also. Anyway, all of this to say is pick smart when you are picking the father of your children, the mother of your children, and you are picking a partner for life. Do not take that very lightly. That is one of the most important decisions you will make in your entire life. Next to what toppings you want for your Chipotle bowl. Also, it's very important to have the hard conversations in an early relationship and in an early marriage, that if your partner is doing something that makes you feel uncomfortable, that you bring it up and you have the guts to have the hard conversations. That is one thing I definitely messed up in my relationship, is that I let my husband at the time make all the decisions. I basically had no voice. I don't even know if I would have been able to speak up. Because after we were divorced, when the kids went to go live with him, because my kids went to go live with him and I paid him child support, I would say I had no say-so on how my kids were raised. I learned that very quickly, that my voice and my opinions on my girls did not matter.
The women that are telling you the tradwife life is amazing are the little 22-year-old, 24-year-old girls that just got in it themselves. I am literally just trying to be dead ass honest. Being a tradwife really fucking sucks. I did it for 10 years. I got married when I was 26. I thought I knew everything. Oh my gosh. It was the next phase of life. College was over. Everybody was moving on. Everybody else was getting engaged and getting married and getting jobs and moving away. And I had the majorest FOMO of my life. The guy that I had been dating for a couple of years was like, hey, do you want to marry me? And I was like, I guess so. I remember calling like every woman in my family to be like, hey, how do you fucking know you're supposed to get married? Like, I don't know. What am I supposed to do? And they were like, yeah, great, good job, congrats. You know, I was like, okay, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do. But it's not all that it's cracked up to be. Like, think of yourself when you're 10 years old, and then when you're 15 years old, you really grow and change as a person. Then from 15 to 20. Well, when you get married at 25, at 35, you might be a different person. You know, just having children alone, the gravity of that sometimes really falls on you, and you see the world differently, and you do start to change some of the ideals and morals that you had. You're gonna see the world through a completely different lens. So when you give up all of your autonomy to this other person and then start bringing other people into the world, you may set yourself up to be in a real shitty spot. And I'm saying that with 10 years experience and now 5 years removed from that experience. I've got 5 years to look back and say, man, I really fucked up. I should have stayed. And I gotta tell you, I only wish I left sooner. I only fucking wish I could have like healed faster, but fuck, I feel like I did a good job. So good luck. The women that are...
Let's talk about the tradwife trend that I've been seeing all over TikTok. So believe it or not, I actually grew up in the Mormon church. So if you know anything about the Mormon church, you know that the gender roles are extremely traditional. And most of the time you're going to see the woman is a stay-at-home mom. She's raising the kids. She's making home-cooked meals, doing all of the housework. And while that is absolutely amazing, and I'm all for, you know, women staying at home, taking care of the kids, because that is a job in itself, I have seen that turn really badly. So there was this couple when I was a kid, I was growing up, they were in the church, and they were like the perfect couple. You know, the husband was very well off. He was extremely rich. The wife was a stay-at-home mom. They went on to have 7 kids, which is a very Mormon thing to do, to have a lot of children. And she never worked. She stayed at home, took care of the kids, took care of the house. They had a
huge, amazing house, mansion. And they just literally seemed like this perfect couple. And I grew up really poor, and we would go to their house all the time, and I'd be like, wow, I wish that, I had this life. They had a pool, they had this huge yard with a trampoline, they had a whole hillside. House was just spectacular. And I always wanted their life growing up as a kid. Naturally you want things that you don't have. But as I got older, when the kids were teenage years, so she had 7, the oldest ones were around my age. And when they hit their teenage years, there started to be talk of them getting a divorce. And they actually did. They got a divorce. He was seeing someone else while they were married, and he eventually divorced his wife, who had diligently raised their kids and had never worked, so she had no work experience, and he left her for another woman. And so the wife moved out of the house, and she had to downsize. Now she was living in like a really small house, and he went on to marry this woman, had a child with her, and she ended up living in this mansion with him. So her life was, now this extravagant life. And the husband, he went on to continue his normal life. Like nothing really changed for him, except that now he had a new wife. He still lived in the same house. He still made the amount of money that he was making. But now the ex-wife had to change her whole life. She had to get a job. She had never worked anywhere. And she would tell my mom how hard it was to find a job. And she was really going through it, while the husband just moved on so easily to this other wife that he married. The 7 kids that they had, their lives also drastically changed, because now you could see how it was affecting them. The 2 older ones started doing things they shouldn't have been doing. They all kind of drifted away from the church, and you could tell that the divorce really affected the children. But what is the whole point? She was this traditional wife. She did everything that she was supposed to do, and he left her, and now her life is so different, and she had to start over. If women don't protect themselves when they marry men and they take on these stereotypical gender roles, such as traditional wife, stay-at-home wife, if you don't have a prenup or a career or any sort of way to make income, if that man decides to leave you, you're going to be in a bad situation. I've seen all over TikTok women coming forward saying that, all this work, and what did it get me? What did it get you? It got you, you got to stay home and raise your beautiful children, it's a blessing to be able to stay home and raise kids. But at the end of the day, now the man doesn't want you anymore, kicks you out of the house that you were taking care of all these years, and you have to start over from scratch. You maybe have never gone to school, don't have any work experience to put on your resume. You are screwed. But the man, nothing changes for him, right? So protect yourselves. If you're going to be a traditional wife, make sure that there's a way that you can protect yourself if for any reason that man is going to leave you, because you don't want to end up in that lady's situation. And whatever it is that you need to do, if you need to do a little, start a little business, learn some sort of a skill, it could be anything. It could be baking. You can start a baking business. I don't know. You could do social media, whatever you can do for yourself, because you are a stay-at-home mother, right? But that's not the only thing that you can bring to this world. You can offer the world so many other things. You're not just a stay-at-home mom. So find something that will set you up if for any reason that man wants to leave you. And if he doesn't want to leave you, guess what? You still have something else on the side, and you guys can bring in extra income. He has his income that he brings in from his job, and now you have some extra income. And this may not work when babies are really small, but when they go off to school, you're going to have so much more time to start something for yourself. And I think that it will make you feel better as a human being to know that you're capable of holding your own if needed. And if not, Now, like I said, the man and the woman, you guys come together and you have more income.
My husband abandoned me and our 4 kids for a 19-year-old escort. I went to Trader Joe's to buy myself a bag of groceries, swiped my card, and it was declined. I should have had a ton of money in that account, and it was all gone. It was gone. My name had never been on one of our homes. My name hadn't been on our vehicles. My name wasn't on the Mercedes that I was driving at the time that our marriage ended. He was able to evict me from the condo that we were renting together because I didn't even exist on the lease, not even as a roommate, not even as a pet. He just canceled the lease. I was just some weirdo living in the condo that Jake had canceled, and so the apartment evicted me. I'd always kind of thought in my head too, like, being a homemaker gives me a lot of skills that I bet would translate into a job. So I right away put together a resume, talked about all of the work that I had done in our family businesses, and went out and started interviewing for jobs. And there was not a person in this entire fucking world who wanted to hire a 44, 45, 46-year-old who had been a stay-at-home mom since the time she was 20. So my first and actually only job that I had after my divorce was $11 an hour working as an assistant in an elementary school classroom 4 hours a day. If you did the math, $44 a day. The only reason that my rent is paid this month is, first of all, my TikTok followers are constantly supporting my content, and I have 3 separate jobs: sales job, furniture flipping business, and I'm still working my Mormon essential oils MLM. I work 7 days a week. I have no retirement. I live in a family member's guest house that they could sell at any moment. I've only existed in the credit world for about 4 years, so I can't finance anything. And it just kind of pisses me off that I went into my marriage thinking that I had a 100% success rate. I didn't have an exit strategy. I didn't have any way to support myself if things went south, and here I am. So I've been living this out on camera for the past 3 years, and I don't plan to go anywhere. I'll keep you posted. Let's see how it ends. Would have been better if I had made different decisions in the beginning, and I wish that somebody had told 20-year-old me that a man is not a plan. Never has been, never will be.
Being a trad wife will not work out, and I know this from experience. I grew up in fundamentalist Christianity, high control religion, and basically they wanted everyone to be trad wives. That was the goal. Now I see on TikTok all this trad wife movement going on, and I'm just like, I've seen it. It's not good. It's not good. So, of all of my aunts, I think 7 or 8 aunts. All of them, most of them chose to be trad wives. I would say probably 85% of them, only 1 or 2 were not trad wives. Everyone else chose to be trad wife on the mission field and had tons and tons of kids, usually 4+ kids. And 3 of my aunts had 10+ kids. So they took the trad wife to the extreme. That is what they were taught to do, and that is what they did. And they all raised their children, homeschooled, went through the years, and every single one of them except one. Every single one except one. So 7 out of 8, as their kids grew older, their husbands cheated on them. Every single one except one. All of my uncles except one cheated on their wives. A lot of them actively cheated multiple times, and a lot of my aunts had no work experience. They had nothing to put on their resume. They had to start from scratch. They got not a ton, some of them didn't get a ton of money or help at all, and they had to start over. And some of these guys seemed and looked really nice when they were younger, but I will tell you, it is really, really, really foolish to have your retirement plan be a man, because it does not usually work out. And none of my aunts would have said it wouldn't have worked out. They all didn't believe in divorce, and that's where they got them. So it is so not smart to put all of your retirement eggs in the basket of a man, because it's just the fact that there is a likelihood he can cheat or that you can be miserable. And then you're miserable and you have nowhere to go because you have nothing on your resume. And I'm not saying being a stay-at-home mom is nothing. That's super important. But I do think you should always have a part-time job or build up your resume first, or try to do something online, just something, so that way you have an out if you need it.
I know a lot of women are talking about this subject in terms of the man trading you in for a younger model. That's not something that I was ever concerned with. But what I did not like was going from earning my own money to having to depend on a man who could give access and deny it at his whim because he was being controlled. I think the concept of marriage is a beautiful concept if done correctly and in a healthy manner. But so long as the consensus amongst a lot of men is that if they make a certain amount of money, they are allowed to cheat, or that men are biologically wired to cheat, or that men simply do not desire to do the inner healing and work necessary so that they don't pass along their childhood traumas to their own children, then I don't recommend it. Because you can consider yourself to be a good father just because you're providing financially or you are living in the same home while you are actively and purposefully being abusive to their mother. But if you insist on being a track wife and depending on your husband financially, I highly recommend you continue to become a content creator and to scale your business and to grow your contacts and network so that this can be a sustainable source of income for you and to save that money for a rainy day if and should it ever come. Because there are plenty of examples of women who wish they had an income because after their husband decided to leave and not pay the alimony or the child support, they were left to fend for themselves, plummeting to poverty and often left homeless, sleeping in their cars, or having to sleep on a family member or friend's sofa. Going from living in the lap of luxury where they could buy whatever they wanted.
And in your 20s, you're the age of my daughters. I've got some advice for you. Keep working. Stop glorifying the trad wife, housewife movement. You're gonna lose yourself. Talk to the women between the ages of 48 and 55. They might have relationships with their husbands that are still really good, but they've stayed home for 30 years and they've lost themselves. They're all regretting it. Does this mean you need to lose your soul by working 100 hours a week? Absolutely not. Get an advanced degree, work part-time, but don't let your license expire. If you're being told by anyone that it's better to stay home than go to work, you're being lied to. This is the way our patriarchal society keeps men in power and women sequestered.
Of videos circulating on here about trad wives and, you know, how you don't see women in their 40s and 50s glamorizing that life. And yeah, because it sucks. I was a trad wife and I never expected that I would be one. I kind of ended up somewhat against my will. Around my 1-year anniversary, I was told, your job is stressing you out too much. You are taking it out on me. It's sabotaging the marriage, and you have to make a choice. I remember where I was sitting, what I was eating when that conversation went down, and the sinking feeling I had, and I didn't want to give up my very successful, high-earning career. But I thought, what kind of person would I be if I chose a job over family? So I chose family. And 10 years later, I realized that it completely destroyed my life. Always keep a job. Always have some sort of way to have an income stream. Get paid for what you're doing. Make sure there are protections. Make sure things get titled in your name. Don't believe the future faking. Don't get your foot out of your career. Take care of yourself. Yeah, it might be nice and fun to take care of your husband, and you can still do that, but always take care of yourself, because the tides turn real fucking fast, especially when they're holding all the cards and they want you to do things a certain way, and after years and years of doing it a certain way, you decide to stand up for yourself.
Do you know what I think is really interesting about trad wife content is that you never see women in their 40s or 50s making it. And there are 40 and 50-year-old tradwives who have been living their tradwife lifestyle their entire adult lives, but you don't see them making TikTok content, mostly because they don't really have time to make it, but also because their life is just not aesthetic for TikTok. When you hear tradwife, you think Alice bands and pretty aprons and chubby babies and perfect white rompers, but you definitely don't think about the toll a decade worth of back-to-back pregnancies has on a human body. You think perfect blonde blowout and not greasy ponytail and random hair loss. You think you're gonna be frolicking with your children in a meadow in some floral print gunny sack dress? Girl, you're gonna be in line at Target in a denim maxi skirt. And that's fine, just know what you're getting into.